It's Jess Glenn on Magic, and it's time for Good Policies with Barrett Insurance Agency, Portland Street in St. Johnsbury. And Mike checks in as we follow CDC guidelines again by chatting about insurance needs and everything in the market remotely. How are you, Mike?
I'm good. How are you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well. Haven't been to see any goofy costumes of you and the family here celebrating New Year's like we did on Christmas, but I hope you guys had a
No. We did. I think Jen and I have been practicing for being isolated for years because our New Year's Eve was about the same as it's been for the past three, where we just kind of hang out and fall asleep too early.
Well, we went to bed way early because we had to come into work in the morning. We actually did NOTHING. All right, so it's a brand new year here, Mike, and we've talked about insurance needs not only for individuals, families, but for businesses as well. And through all of this, you know, I'm not the brightest bulb in the string here. I can't recall if there's ever anything that you've shared with us that cannot be insured. Is there such a thing?
There are certain things that are probably in the realm of being uninsurable. There are certainly situations that can become uninsurable, no doubt about that. One of the things that may be worth thinking about is insurable interest. Have you ever heard of that, Jeff, insurable interest?
No, I haven't. So good. I'm going to learn something. What is it?
All right, get your pen and paper handy. The test is at the end. So insurable interest, what does that mean? It means you have the right to insure a piece of property, whether that be a home that you own, an apartment that you rent, and you are the tenant, or a vehicle that you own. So that is the definition really of insurable interest, that you have an interest in this particular item that you're looking to get insurance on. And so you have to have an insurable interest to be able to get insurance. And so one thing to consider is some easy examples of how you would not have insurable interest. Let's say your parents or a relative or somebody you know has decided to put a house in your name. So for years and years and years, this person owned the house in their name, and they insured that house, and now, boom, it's just in your name. The insurance policy that this person has is kind of be null and void for you because you're the owner, and it's in their name for insurance. So you don't have it; it's not going to be covering you properly. So you would need to get your own coverage. You don't just amend an existing policy because that's not how the companies do it. You would have to get a new policy specifically in your name. Same goes for gifted vehicles. A vehicle transfers from one person to another, even though if it's in the same family, if the ownership is there, the insurable interest should follow, and the insurable interest should be the party that insures the vehicle. A way that could make it so you can't insure whatsoever, let's say your friend John has a car and he's letting you drive it, but John doesn't have insurance on it, and you want to get insurance on it. Well, you can't really because you don't have an insurable interest in that vehicle. So you can't insure something and recover from a loss if something happens to that vehicle if it's not yours to begin with. That can become a really slippery slope during a claims process. And the same could be held true with insurable interest and how things work in the world of life insurance, too. You have to have an insurable interest in the life insurance process in the beginning of obtaining a life insurance policy for sure. These are all things, they're twists and turns, nooks and crannies that you don't think about often, but they are certainly things that come up frequently in our side of things, and we are always assessing to make sure that we're properly addressing how you can insure that. You talked about, Jeff, uninsurable items to begin with. There are certain risks that are very difficult, if not close to impossible to insure. I'm sure that if people look far and wide, they can probably find ways to insure higher risks. You think about some of the higher things that happened, the bigger risk, exposures in our world. They must have insurance somewhere. Who knows how they get it, but they must in some way, shape, or form.
Okay, so let me make sure I understand this, okay? We'll go with the insurable interest if you're a homeowner or you're a renter, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a homeowner, obviously you want insurance on your home in case
Correct.
of a loss to the property, right?
Correct. Whether it be a physical damage loss or a liability loss, absolutely.
Okay, so now the difference then with a renter, they have insurance on the contents of that building, but they can't be insured against the two things you just mentioned, right? In other words,
Exactly.
they
So
can't claim the
their
house.
insurable interest. They can't claim the house. You are correct. They can't claim the house, but you are absolutely spot on. Where the insurable interest in that situation is that they are insuring their contents as well as themselves. Because you think about it, a renter's insurance policy, the primary coverage is covering your contents, but also the liability protection to protect you if somebody sustains an injury due to your negligence, other than the exclusion ones like auto insurance type claims. But if somebody sustains an injury while visiting you, you could be held liable. And so those are the biggest things that you want to protect, and that's the insurable interest connection that you have.
This sounds like this conversation could go in a whole lot of different directions, Mike. it really did.
It could be nonstop.
Well, I learned
but
something.
For the renters, though, if you want to just, another great example, a lot of people say, I don't need renter's insurance. My landlord's got me. No, they don't. They don't have an insurable interest in your contents, nor do most landlords have contents coverage on their insurance policies. So never for one. Thanks. And even if you're renting from somebody you're friends with and think, well, I don't need renter's insurance, John has insurance. Remember, your insurable interest is in your contents. If that party has no insurable interest in your contents, they're not insuring it.
Okay. Well, no, that makes perfect sense. So if somebody wants to work out all these details with you, tell them how they get in touch with you.
Sure. You can give us a call, 748-5224. You can stop by and wave at our window on Portland Street in St. Johnsbury. Again, we are locked for just walk-in traffic, but we are open for appointments, so we're absolutely happy to meet with you if you'd like. We just schedule an appointment so we can control the flow. You can also find us at our website for a free home and auto quote, thebarrettagency.com, Google, Facebook, and YouTube, all Barrett Insurance Agency.
Mike, thank you very much. We wish you the best in the new year. We had a lot of great chats last year. I'm sure we'll become just as educated by the time the next calendar flips over.
Believe me, once a week you can count on at least a few minutes of boredom, Jeff. I promise.
Oh, no, I'm learning. I'm learning a ton. So are our listeners. Mike, thank you very much, okay?
All right. Be well. Happy New Year and stay safe.
All right. Mike Barrett with Good Policies, Barrett Insurance Agency. Music from